Hello ladies and gentlemen, Michael here with Lightworker Network, and today we're going to expose the Venezuelan burning humanitarian aid trucks false flag, okay? And we're going to talk about how the U.S. has used this to double down after a stunning defeat. Once again, we're going to talk about that. Now, in my last video, I predicted that the United States was going to, or that the opposition was going to kind of rather stage a false flag, or they were gonna keep increasing the provocations at the border. And I made that video on February 23rd, the day that Juan Guaido said that they had to get the aid in. And I actually posted about this situation here with the burning aid trucks that very day. And some video has been exposed of journalists that were on the ground there at that moment, and they broke down exactly what really happened. But in my video, I also predicted how the United States and the opposition was going to use whatever event was going to happen as a demonization weapon to further demonize the government. I said that it's going to get completely blamed on Maduro's government. That's exactly what happened. And we're going to talk about how Pence used this exact situation to do exactly as I said and further demonize the government and completely blame on them. And they use it as their excuse to double down in this media campaign that's, for the most part, it's working outside of the country, but inside of the country there is a base. There's a Chavista base, not just the military, but the people that are not buying it. They haven't been buying it for the past 20 years, and this is all Chavez warned them would happen. So it's not that surprising when you see past the propaganda. So let's watch this video and we'll talk about it. Alright, so the video's in Spanish, but I'll do my best to talk over it. She's basically saying here that there was like an approach. The people escorted the aid trucks with the masked thugs that you're gonna see, and then they had a clash with the Bolivarian guard that's loyal to the government, and they were prepared and they held down the border and they did not let it in, and the aid trucks stayed at the Colombian border. Okay, not like you're being told, and they were throwing rocks and Molotov cocktails. Let's watch. Alright, so here you see the masked thugs filling off the Molotov cocktails. Okay, right there you see it. This is a beer bottle. This is a wake. Okay, it's full of gasoline. They light this on fire. They throw it and things catch on fire. Okay, one of the go-to protest weapons down there. See, there's the guy throwing the Molotov cocktail, and whoops, right there, boom, right, one lands right on top of the fire trucks. Here they are filling them up. This guy's right here. He throws them at the National Guard, and whoops, one of them just lands right on the truck. And here's the masked thugs going to go pick up rocks to throw at the National Guard. Here they are picking up the rocks. Here are the poor people. Well, this is that they're filling up the wicks for the Molotov cocktails. And here's the police of Colombia, okay, helping a woman fill up Molotov cocktails, okay, so they could use against the National Guard. You can't make this stuff up. That's the Molotov cocktails right there. That's not beer. Okay, here are the people forcing their way into the border. This is the Colombian side. Everybody's like, yeah, woohoo. And then, boom, you have this. They're not coming in. The National Guard. Here's the people, taking the aid out. Here's the National Guard staying firm and loyal to the government. This is commitment to the government. They're holding down the ground. They're saying you are not getting in. Here's the poor people getting the aid out. They're putting it into another truck that didn't burn. Boom, here's the poor people freaking out. So with this stunning and decisive defeat that the opposition and the United States suffered, failing to get the aid into the country, their narrative begins to crumble down. That's the real defeat here, okay? Their whole narrative is that it's only 30 people in control of the whole country and there's 30 million Venezuelans against them. That is not what happened, and the armed forces of Venezuela showed their resolve and their loyalty to protect their borders, okay, of their constitutional government. Now, I'm not a socialist. I am not necessarily defending Maduro's government. I am just anti-war, okay, and I'm trying to promote peace here, but they failed, okay, and then the armed forces stood their ground. They showed their loyalty to the government. They prepared not only here in this bridge, but they failed all around the country trying to get this aid in from Brazil, from Colombia, from everywhere. And so their narrative begins to crumble. There is a base within the country, not just the military, but a base that right now in 2018, 6 million people voted for President Nicolas Maduro. Okay, Chavistas voted for him. The opposition boycotted the election. Okay, my point is that they're rolling out this agenda. They're rolling out this narrative that, oh, it's only 30 evil people, and we're just going to go in there, invade them militarily, do whatever we want to get them out. Okay, but really what they're not telling you is that they have a 100,000 person armed forces strong that's willing to defend the country, and that they have a base of people that still believe in the government. And you're being shown this narrative, and you're not being shown whatsoever anywhere the other side of the story, because it exists, and so it's being censored. And then this is how we get steamrolled into a war, ladies and gentlemen, a for-profit war. Now let's watch some video here of some of these pro-government protesters, okay, just so you get a glimpse of the other side. Okay, so this right here is President Nicolas Maduro's Instagram, and he posted this picture back 5 days ago on February 20th, right? He said that this is Puente Angostura, Estado Bolívar. This is a pro-government march, okay, on a bridge, February 20th, 2019. Now everybody in the comments is saying that it's fake, this and that. Let's watch a video. All right, so here you see them. You know, they're all rallying it up. They're talking about, you know, Viva las Fuerzas Armadas, Viva the armed forces. They demonize them. They mess with them, but they stay loyal. Boom, all the way down, okay? This is a government protest. Pro-government protest that just happened right now. This video right here is of the people welcoming back the National Guard that just held down the border and didn't let the aid in. Look at them all happy, okay? I'm not saying they're the majority of the people. I'm not saying that Maduro's right. I'm just saying that they exist and that they're being ignored in the media, being portrayed as if these people aren't loyal. These people are just, you know, they're going to turn on the government. They're not. They haven't done it for the past 20 years. They're not going to do it now. This was Chavez's battle cry. He warned that this would happen. Okay, because they understand, and it's what they talk about, that what's going on in their country is an economic war, that the United States has sanctions on them, it has blockade on them, it doesn't get off their back. This is all Chavez will talk about. These people are under the impression that the United States has been hostile to them and to the revolution for the past 20 years, and now it's making its final bid to take over, which is truly what's happening. Now, I'm not saying that Maduro is correct, but the empire is striking. And these people are going to fight back. And I just do not want a war to break out. Now, let's watch Pence double down, use this to further demonize the government, as I predict he would. Okay, and let's talk about how they're going to get more desperate now that it's clear that there's a force within the government that's going to resist them. All right, so this is Mike Pence using the false flag that we just exposed to further demonize the government and pose as if Maduro himself ordered the National Guard to burn those trucks because he's so evil. He's starving his own people. Okay, this is the mantra that we're going to keep on hearing.
Just days ago, as the world watched, the tyrant in Caracas danced as his henchmen burned truckloads of food and medicine and murdered civilians. Saturday was a tragic day for the families of those who lost their lives. And we mourn with those who...
All right, so here's Pence doubling down after demonizing them. Let's take a look.
Our efforts to date will not only continue, they will be increased. Despite Maduro's brutality, we will press on. As we speak, we're identifying new areas along the border where we can pre-position additional aid for the struggling people of Venezuela. Today also, it's my privilege to announce that the United States will provide an additional $56 million to support our partners in the region as you come to the aid of the Venezuelan people, fleeing from the deprivation and oppression of the Maduro regime.
That's the mantra, Maduro starving his own people.
In the days and weeks ahead, the United States will continue to deliver life-saving food for the hungry, medicine for the desperately ill, and shelter for those displaced by the brutality and deprivation of the regime.
All right, here's Pence trying to push the narrative that it's collapsing on him, that it's just around 30 cronies, corrupt people, against 30 million people, and everybody hates him. They're going to be out.
It's millions versus 30 or so of them. 30 usurpers must not be allowed to deny liberty to 30 million people.
Wow, I don't know, Pence. This sure looks like a lot more than 30 people to me. I'm not statistics or anything. Let's see. I don't know. What can you guesstimate? How many people are there? How about this? How many people? Is there more than 30 people here? How many? I think that there's more than 30 National Guard. For at least I'd say that there's more than 30 National Guards at every border post. Okay, so that's not what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not for the Maduro's government, you know. But they're trying to paint this narrative that, oh, everybody in the country hates him, and so it's our duty to go in there and invade them militarily. They're building up the groundwork for war. Meanwhile, you have Maduro and his government and his revolution and his armed forces and the people that still support him standing up and saying we're never going to give up. And as the United States forces the tension, they are creating a very dangerous pressure cooker that could destabilize the entire region like America did in the Middle East. Okay? So you can see how they're making this narrative, this media hoax, that nobody is supporting Maduro and we got to go in there, we got to get him out quickly. As that begins to collapse more and more, the United States is going to begin to get more and more desperate and commit more and more drastic measures, and it can get really, really dangerous. So my call to action, once again, is that we stand up for peace no matter where you are. I'm not endorsing Maduro's government. I'm not a socialist in any way, shape, or form. But I am vehemently anti-war. I'm vehemently anti-fascism, which is the merger of state and corporate powers, which is what the United States has become. I am vehemently anti the military-industrial complex, and that is what this is. We have to continue to expose it for what this really is: a corporate bid, a for-profit war to get control over the nation's resources. And they're doing it by hijacking the will of the people for change. We have to stand up against it. Okay, we have to let the Venezuelan people resolve their own problems. Okay, the American public has enough damn problems of its own. Trump is facing almost a coup within his own government. So why are we staging coups all throughout the world? It's because corporate interests are stationed and are trying to get us, and they're hijacking our media and they're hijacking our consciousness through propaganda. So let's stand up. Let's stand up for peace. Let's stand against endless wars. And we, as humanity, will persevere. Let's do it now before we have to learn the hard way. That's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael with Lightworker Network, and I'm signing out. And as always, may God be with you.